The hobby is the people. Weekly news and interviews. It's your number one source. Sports Card Nation. The hobby is the people. Sports Card Nation.
Welcome to episode 177 of the Sports Card Nation podcast. For those that may not know, we come out every Friday with a new episode where we interview somebody from the hobby, dignitary, collector, CEO, new hobby, startup business, my buddy, whoever it may be, right? The hobby is the people. That's all of us, all walks of life, all ages, all titles. It does not make a difference, right? We're all in this together. That being said, I got a great episode on tap today. I'm biased, but I believe that to be true. We have a father and son together on the show today. The father's been on the show before, the son making his Sports Card Nation debut, but a very wise young man who's learning the ropes from his dad. We have Ray and Ryan Schulte on the podcast today. They're going to talk about some of the shows that have went down this year that they've been involved in, and obviously we got the National. If you're listening to this on show release Friday, we are now 87 days away from the National. And they're going to talk about that event this year, obviously in Atlantic City. And Ray, don't miss this episode. Ray is going to actually break news with an event happening for the first time at this year's National. That's called a tease in the radio business. I'll leave that there. You'll have to listen to Ray to get what I'm talking about. So Ray and Ryan Schulte, two good guys, and they've always been great with us here. And we always have them on. Ray always this time of year, to kind of give us get the juices flowing on the National. And I know his son is starting to be active with him and sort of cutting his teeth, and went around with Brody last year. And I'm like, you know what? If Ryan wants to come on, I'd love to talk to him too. And it was a really fun interview. And if you're not excited as we get closer to the National yet, maybe this interview will push you across that threshold. So enough of me blabbing. Let's get this show started.
Yo, hello everybody. Mike here, baseball collector. And remember that the hobby is the people.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. The show starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Are you ready? It's showtime.
All right, excited for my next two guests on the Sports Card Shop at Moco guest line. That's right. You heard two. Mr. Ray Schulte, jack of all trades when it comes to the National. It was about a year ago you were on last year, and you brought your son Ryan's joining you today. Happy to have you, gentlemen.
He's my special assistant.
Yeah, everyone. I need one of those. My son, he's doing his own thing. I'm going to yell at him and say, "Hey, this is what you should be doing." But welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us today. Ray, I'll start off. We when you were here last year, we covered kind of your trajectory into the hobby. So we're not going to rehash that. People can check that episode out for sure if they want to go there. But you just got done. You helped out too. You were part of the Mint Collective that just concluded in Vegas. I did not attend. Couldn't do it. But for those like myself that didn't go, talk a little bit about that event and how it was.
Well, it was a great event. Great addition to the hobby. More for an investment type perception and for collectors. And I was just happy and excited to be asked to be part of it. And it was an event that basically nobody really knew exactly what to expect, except for maybe Ezra and David Marino. But it was really extremely well done, well thought out. and well received hobby event, and I think it's going to be here for a long, long time to come.
Yeah, it's the first one out of the gate. That I don't care what you do, the first whatever, a small hotel show in your smaller town. It's always, it can be difficult, right out the gate. This was no small show. Las Vegas and a lot of folks there from the hobby, outside the hobby, athletes. Again, coming out of the blocks the first time, and everything I saw looked like it went fairly smoothly. And like you said, you think this is something that will become an annual thing?
Oh, absolutely. And, it's funny because people are asking me like, Ray, why are you getting involved in this event? Isn't it a competitive event, with the industry summit and with the national? And you know what? I'm excited to say that it isn't. I mean, for me, it's just the opposite. I see small shows and regional shows popping up throughout the country, and enormous in numbers. And so for me, this is kind of not so much competitive as it is growth. Our hobby is growing, and for us, the national right now, I mean, we've got the greatest event sales we've ever had. We've got over 100 plus exhibitors on the waiting list to get in. So we don't consider that competitive at all. I definitely really believe that it's growth. And as long as we continue to put on high quality shows like the Mint and others, then I think we'll be in great shape going forward.
Well, you answered, I don't have a ton of questions on my list. I do a lot of stuff sort of just based on where the conversation goes. That was one I did have on my list and you answered it right there, is like some of these other shows, as great as they are and how they do, do you think it competes against the national? But you're saying it's more of a growth thing rather than, hey, we're trying to one up the national. To me, just speaking for myself, which is all I could do, the national is, to me, the main event. That's like the thing you look forward to every year. The minute it ends, I know there's 365 days to the next one, and I'm already looking forward to it. But like you said, you feel like these other events are more just sort of just the hobby growing to sustain all these.
Yeah, absolutely. When you have the shows throughout the country, these shows popping up and quality events like the Mint come in, you're bringing on new collectors. You're kind of putting it out there so that more and more people want to get involved in the hobby, whether it's at first a curiosity, or if they've gone back into their attics and they found some trading cards and they want to know what to do. And I can't tell you how many people that I interviewed at the National last year who are coming back for the first time, maybe after 10 years. And so for me, it's just kind of a gateway to the National. And if you talk to the Mint Collective people, they would say, the National is the National. Nobody's trying to, up the National, but they are trying to add to it. And I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. The mindset that everybody has and the results were fantastic.
Yeah. How much, I know you work with them. How much did they kind of pick your brain? I mean, this is old hat to you. One of the reasons you're asked to do this is you're so very good at it. It's a compliment to you. How involved were you with that project, that show?
Well, I mean, when you talk about Ezra Levine and David Marino and his team up there at Collectible and the IMG group, I mean, they're all very smart people, and they knew what they wanted to accomplish. They added me because I could help steer them in the right direction. And I always look at a first show as it's the what if show. What if this happens? What if that happens? And I can't tell you how many shows or how many events that I've been involved in that, you got 10 people and everybody has a different perception in terms of what's going to happen or how that logistical will work or not work. So it's very challenging, when you put on a first show. And I think they were just, looking to me to kind of, reinforce what they were doing, and also to kind of guide them a little bit. And the great thing about it was that we had a lot of content, and I think they believe in content, and I certainly, in my position, I believe in content too. So I was able to help them up there. We had a lot of the influencers in town. We had a lot of the high-profile exhibitors and dealers and people in the industry. So we maximized that. We had Dr. Beckett there, and everybody wanted to do a nice interview with him. So it was very, very good, and time well spent.
Yeah, and like you said, it looks like it will be an annual event. You've got other shows, sort of, Dallas Card Show sort of become its own entity. Atlanta with the Culture Collision and other ones that I'll probably forget to mention or the names. But how about this came up on one of my other episodes, Ray? So I'll not a tough question. I'll put you a little bit on the spot. Would the National ever maybe consider these could all be sort of offshoots of the National or a partnership, if you will, whether that's the show in Atlanta, Dallas, or wherever, any of those kind of shows. Could that be something more of a collaboration where the National is sort of aligned with it or attached to it?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. It's hard to say, because a lot of these shows that are like with Culture Collision in Atlanta and the Dallas show, they all have their own personality, and they all have their strengths. So I don't know if it would necessarily be an official offshoot of the National, but we certainly welcome them. And I promote all the shows on the National Instagram. For me, I look at it that it's these shows are a tremendous asset for us, and so we continually promote them and support them in any way we possibly can. So I don't know about officially, but there's a lot of people out there that would like to see the National maybe do a second one, maybe a regional one. Never say never. I have to say, putting on the National is quite a chore in terms of everything that we have to go through. It's challenging in the sense that with the hotels and the convention center and all the logistics that go into it, years in advance. So it's not easy to kind of turn and pivot as quickly as people may like or want, but we continually look for other opportunities. And if a regional show pops up maybe in Los Angeles or Dallas, whatever, I'm sure the board of directors would consider it and be more open to it now than maybe they were a few years ago.
Going to step aside for a real quick break, but we'll be back with Ray and Ryan.
Pastime Marketplace has a line of graded card cases that are waterproof, airtight, dust-tight, and hardened to protect and organize your valuable collection. Each of our cases come with pre-cut and pre-formed foam, so you don't have to cut and tear the foam when you get your case. The pre-cut foam inserts are sized to hold PSA, Beckett, SGC, and CGS slabs. Store it all safely and securely with a case from Pastime Marketplace. Check them out at www.pastimemarketplace.com.
Sports Card Nation is back with Ray and Ryan Schulte. We've heard whispers or rumors that maybe a biannual National, two occurrences of it. To me, I'm not necessarily opposed to that. Not that it's all about me, but just giving my own opinion. I'm not necessarily opposed to that. I guess my fear would be is we have too many of these shows just in general, not just saying too many nationals, but too many shows in general, especially of the larger variety that sort of it can get oversaturated. Maybe the bloom comes off the rose a little bit. Like I just said, I know I speak for a lot of people in the hobby. The minute the National concludes, I'm already counting the days down to it coming back around again. Most likely, obviously, at a different location, but planning the logistics out of that already, sort of in advance, knowing where it's going to be. I guess I'm not. Two Nationals, or some will say are better than one. I guess as long as it doesn't hurt the one. I'm blessed this year with it being in Atlantic City. I'm here in New York, so I'll be driving rather than flying, which I usually do. But there's the hobby is a worldwide, hobby. If you're in California, Atlantic City is going to be a little trickier for them in comparison to me. I'd love to see almost like a dual coast type of thing, and I would even try to go to if it was in California, even though if I went to the one on the East Coast, if you will. So, something like that where no matter where you sort of live, I mean, Chicago, Cleveland's great because it's sort of centrally located and we all kind of, it's almost sort of fair to everyone. It's really nice if you live in the Midwest, but something along those lines. I mean, what if you ever, I mean, I know it's all speculation. If you ever see two nationals, would it kind of be with that sort of, considerations in mind, would you say?
Well, I think obviously the location would be extremely important. We understand that East Coast is East Coast and maybe a little bit more challenging for the West Coast people to come in. But, having said that, it's really hard to plan for a 400,000 square foot, convention center floor where we need X amount of hotel rooms, where we need X amount of access. And so, for that reason, it's really difficult. And, people say, well, why don't you go to this market or that market? There's a laundry list. I can't tell you how long of things that we need to be able to do that. And a lot of it comes down to, can you hold hotel rooms? Can we get the special rate for the exhibitors coming in and for the fans coming in? We have established that already in Chicago and Atlantic City, and we had that in Cleveland. But that's not something you can do overnight, and, there's a lot of convention centers around the country that won't commit to us, 2 years out. They rather maybe hook up with a boat show or something like that. So they're not going to give us the guarantee we need. And we need at least a 2-year guarantee in terms of, where we're going to be. So, I think Chicago, I don't really know of anybody that dislikes Chicago. I think everybody likes Chicago. It's so easy. It's mid-country. I mean, the building is easy in terms of the unions and the people are involved. So there's so many positives. Atlantic City is huge. I mean, I know Atlantic City, compared to what it used to be maybe 15 years ago, it's a little different now. It's much more family oriented. I think, the people that come will see that. And, our show last time in Atlantic City, I thought was extremely successful. And, it's the strength of the hobby right now. We could have a show anywhere. We could have it in Austin, Texas. We could have it in Pasadena, and the show is going to succeed because of the strength of the hobby. But I think being in Atlantic City, the plus I think for the industry is that the Northeast is a huge memorabilia and trading card section, and we have so many fans and collectors from that market. I mean, because of the rich history and heritage, whether it's your Boston fan, Philly fan, DC fan, whatever. So, that plays into what we would consider the success mode. And I think the Atlantic City may be the biggest and best show we'll ever put on. I really believe that, given all the feedback we've had already and all the response that we've gotten so far. So we're really excited about it.
Now, when you were here last on the show, like I mentioned a year ago, we were previewing the Chicago edition of the National. You came on and you put some rumors to bed. There was rumors that it was going to get moved. The date was going to change. And you came on and said, hey, that's, it's Chicago or it's really nothing and nothing, in between. And that's exactly what happened. It was a great event. As someone who attended, I can attest to that firsthand. I want to get Ryan in here, as well to get, his perspective. You were at that Chicago National, Ryan. You got to hang out with Brody the Kid. That's a lot of people would like to do that. I got to hang out with him a little bit. You got to hang out with him a lot more. What was the whole experience like? Was that your first national, by the way, or no?
It was my first real national. The other national I went to was in Atlantic City, but I wasn't very much part. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say I was very active in it, but this one I'm very active in, and I was exploring the whole floor of the convention, and it was just fantastic for me because it was just great. I don't think I fully understood how big the hobby was until I went there.
Well, I actually put him to work. I mean, I asked Brody if he would mentor him at the national, but he actually all 5 days he worked, and he worked with me in terms of working with the media, placing them, showing them around the floor, and I know he did quite a bit with HBO Sports, and they actually said that he did a fantastic job. So, thanks to Brody for the mentoring, and I think we're going to continue that in Atlantic City. That Brody and him will be out there and helping and promoting the show.
The dynamic duo. We're gonna have to coin them the dynamic duo. I don't think that's been done before, and if it has, we're still gonna use it. We're still gonna use it. Anyway, I'm going to step away to hear from one of our great sponsors, but we'll be right back with more with Ray and Ryan Schulte.
Iron Sports Cards is your #1 source for all your PSA and other grading submissions. Their elite status improves turnaround times. Heck, they even provide the card savers. Their chat rooms provide updates on all your submissions. They also offer wax options and single cards to cover all the bases. Check them out on Facebook at Iron Sports Cards Group or on the web at ironsportscards.com, or even give them a call at 1-877-IRON-PSA. Rob's got you covered.
We are back with more from Ray and Ryan. Ryan, you said you the Atlantic City, maybe you were a little younger, you didn't kind of grasp everything. Obviously I'm sure your dad told you kind of some things to expect. Was it even, I remember my first one, and whatever I kind of psyched myself up for, or thought it was going to be like, or people telling me, hey, John, it's going to be like this, it'll be like that, experiencing it for the first time in reality, it was even beyond sort of what I was told. The same thing for you, would you say?
I would say so. It was way beyond what I thought, and I had high expectations, but that the convention just blew it out of the water. It was so good.
Yeah, but what's it like? Knowing that your dad's a big part of that, and now you're getting to sort of learn the ropes in a sort of way. Well, talk about sort of that. Is it intimidating, or is it like, hey, no big thing?
I would say that it's at first you kind of think, oh, how are you? Like, this is a lot to manage, and this is a lot to do because you're running around the whole convention trying to make the experience just better for everyone. But it was just I kind of liked actually doing it and working the whole convention floor, and it was really wonderful.
John, it's interesting because prior to Chicago, he didn't really know what I did. If somebody was to ask him, "What does your dad do?" he really couldn't explain it, and I totally understand that because it's a little bit different than most professions, but I think he got a good understanding, and he actually helped me a tremendous amount in Chicago. So, but I'm actually proud that he was able to work with me and be in a position where maybe now he does understand a little bit about what I do from a marketing, PR, social perspective, and that makes me happy too.
Yeah, and it's much fun. Listen, I don't want to speak for you here, Ray, but I'm sure it's fun what you do. There's a work element and a little stress element too, and he kind of sees sort of the how the scales balance out as well. But I got to ask you, Ryan. I saw you working the floor, doing a lot of walking, like all of us. I'm an older guy, obviously. Did your feet hurt as much as mine did?
My entire legs were sore.
Now, did you like? Do you? I know both you guys are. You do hiking and you're athletic and biking. Did you keep track of like how many steps you walked?
We actually did. Some days it got up to like 15,000 steps.
Holy smokes! So yeah,
we were just completely tired.
There was a time when I went into the GTS lounge, and there he was, conked out on the couch.
These young guys can't keep up with us, Ray. I don't know what it is. They think they can, but
he's going to be in better shape now for Atlantic City.
Chicago was training for Atlantic City. That's a good segue too. As when this airs, we're going to be about 90 days away from the 2022 National. My first time doing it in Atlantic City. I know I've been told the building itself is one of the bigger buildings, the convention center. As someone that's been to the Atlantic City National, and for those listening as well as myself, what might be different if you've never been to the Atlantic City edition?
Well, the Atlantic City Convention Center, it's a great venue. I mean, we've got our 400,000 square foot on the main floor. The people there to work with are fantastic. They want business now. They're out there being proactive, and so they want to bend over and do whatever it takes to make us happy. And that's, we've had that relationship with them for years now. So that's exciting. There's other things we're doing that I think, that are going to be even more exciting. I mean, we're working with Signatures for Soldiers again this year.
Yep.
We've got some great partners that are coming on. I've got some influencers that are going to get involved. And so for us, giving back to the community is just as important. We started the national auction, and we were able to bring on Pristine Auction as the auction platform this year. And we're excited about that. But I've always positioned it that it's the exhibitors auction. It's the national exhibitors auction, where the exhibitors are thanking the community for allowing them to come in and make money and hone their craft. And so we're really excited about that. And we've got other high profile people coming into town for the Atlantic City. So we're our main Mike Burke's main stage is gearing up again, and that will be jam packed. So it's going to be very exciting. It's going to be it's one of those things where I say we're going to maximize the opportunities. And maybe years ago we couldn't really say that, but everything's coming together. And I say that not just for the show, but the industry. I mean, the industry really is catapulting the show, and we understand that. We recognize that. So we're in a good place there, just taking on the momentum, and we hope to continue that.
Yeah, like everything in the hobby, Ray, everything's grown exponentially. Content creation, you mentioned a little bit of that. I know, a lot of us content creators are friendly with each other, or just outright friends. And we do the Hobby Hotline show with Dr. Beckett and other content creators, and from YouTube and audio only. Is there one of the things that comes up when we kind of talk about the national is like even seeing, we have sort of a breakers pavilion, which is great, and definitely a need for that for sure. Maybe somewhere, down the line, like having sort of a content creation role. I call the national the Super Bowl of the hobby. And I've never been to the Super Bowl, but even if you had never been to the Super Bowl, they have sort of like a media role and where the shows all week leading up to the big game. Is that something that may be on the menu potentially at some point, or we might see something like that? It's
a great idea, and I love that. the challenge we have is we don't have any space. I mean, again, we have over 100 exhibitors just on the waiting list to get in. So we're trying to get those exhibitors into the show. So it's the available space that we do have, maybe it's by the Mike Burkus main stage, but that's there for a reason. And the Breakers Pavilion, David Gelfman, he handles that as a vendor for us. So
going to step aside for a real quick break to pay some bills. But when we come back, Ray breaks some news about a possible new event at the National. Don't go away. Are you a new sports card collector or someone that's returning to the hobby? Maybe you're just looking for a friendly, trustworthy community to hang out with and enjoy collecting. Midwest Box Breaks has been bringing collectors together for almost 4 years with affordable breaks, helpful Twitter threads, and a Discord group packed with generous people who care about the hobby and other collectors. Check out the breaks at MidwestBoxBreaks.com. First-timers can use the coupon code MBB10 and save 10% on their first order. Your first break mail will also include a bonus card so no one strikes out on their first break. Our goal is to bring you as much value as possible. We've even launched an NFT project dedicated to the hobby. Find us on Twitter at MidwestBoxBreak. Sports Card Nation is back with more from Ray and Ryan.
We are doing things and trying to be proactive this year, and we haven't come out with this yet. And I'm not going to spill the beans totally, but we're going to be involved as a host for the trade night, the Thursday trade night, and that will be coming into the convention center. So that's a first. And there's a couple of guys, Ryan Johnson and Tracy Hackler, that are kind of spearheading that, and so we're very excited about that. And we hope to create some situations within that. And throughout the years, again, women in the hobby has been a focal point for us throughout the year, this past year. So, we want to pay homage to not only the women that work in the hobby, but also the women collectors that come in. In the past couple of years, I've seen more women, I've seen more daughters and grandmothers and families than I've ever seen before. And a lot can be attributed to the manufacturers, the exhibitors, and the relationships that they have too. So that's exciting for me. I love walking down the aisles and listening to the stories that are told, whether it's a dad and his son or dad and his daughter. And so for me, that's kind of what it's all about. And Ryan got exposed to that too. And I think it just brings a bigger, better meaning to collecting and what the hobby's all about.
Yeah, I agree, and you're right. We have seen from working in the industry to being a collector to even store ownership, LCS ownership, breaking, and isn't there a saying like behind every great hobby woman there's a great hobby guy? I like to start that now. But all joking aside, you make a great point. We as the hobby has grown exponentially, all facets have, and I think it's important. It's definitely important to have the hobby represent, all walks, all races, creeds. It doesn't matter. It's not an exclusive club, and it shouldn't be, and it's never taken that stance, and never should. And the National is a great place. For those that never been, you just walk around there and you'll see everybody. And I think it's a great example of the diversity that is in the hobby. And we're talking about feet. Everyone's feet is going to hurt. Doesn't matter. Man, woman, doesn't make a difference. But anything, Atlantic, anything new that someone who's been to more than one national is Atlantic City is there anything new that someone may see for the first time? That you mentioned sort of the trade night, your little kind of breaking news there. Anything else you can let out there that may be different than that we've seen in past years?
Well, I think, as I mentioned, the Breakers Pavilion, I think that's growing exponentially. I think the main stage is we're going to have some great content up there, some great interviews and breaking and kind of a little bit of everything. So I think we're just, we'll take it up to another level, really. And like I mentioned earlier, with the influencers coming in, that's always been very positive. And, for me, it's great because we get some great exposure for mainstream as well as the hobby interest. So, and you'll see in Atlantic City, again, where we're located there, it's going to be great, for your family and the beaches and the everything else that they have there now. So it's all positive. And we're really excited about, we can't wait to be there, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's one of those things where, I wish it was this weekend.
Well, we're one day closer. We're getting there. Like I said, when this airs, we'll be in the double digits at 90 days. You mentioned, Atlantic City. Now, normally, Ray, my wife Sharon will not, like when I went to Chicago last year. She's not into the hobby or cards, like obviously fast that I am. So she says, "Hey, go have fun. I'll see you when you get back." She's going. She'll be making this trip while we're driving. She'll be making this trip. You won't see her in the convention center, but like you said, she's going to take advantage of the beach and an umbrella and an adult beverage and a book, and just it's going to be a vacation, a full-fledged vacation for her. And I piggyback off what you said. It is a great vacation spot. So if someone has a spouse, let's say, like I do, that maybe is not into the cards in the same vein as you are, they can still enjoy the city. Hopefully some sun and the weather cooperates. And, there's a lot of things to do, a lot of places to eat, and walk the boardwalk, put your toes in the sand. That's something my wife's going to do. I've even talked to a few other content creators that are going to where their wives are like mine, and their wives are making the trip to enjoy those other, things that go on as well. So that's nice.
And it's a great place for those who don't have the adult beverages, who don't drink the adult beverages.
Yeah.
I mean, the kids there, they have the huge Ferris wheel on the boardwalk, and so much is geared toward the families and kids. So I think we saw that the last Atlantic City, where people took advantage of that. And if you want to go in the casino, you've got that. But it's all very conducive to having a great family experience.
Yeah, so there will just be plenty of area for all of you, like the families, just to relax. Or even if, like, for example, if your child doesn't like the hobby or is not interested yet, they could just have fun at the pier or the worldwide renowned or internationally renowned boardwalk, but it is pretty famous. But you could just have plenty of fun at Atlantic City.
Yeah, you can fish. I try to fish a few times every year. And anytime I get, if I get to Myrtle Beach, anytime there's salt water, I like to run a pole and do a little saltwater casting as well. So yeah, good point, Ryan. There, if that's your thing, that opportunity will present itself. It is a city where, whether you're into the hobby or cards, there's something for everybody. No reason not to necessarily not make the trip. And good points by all of us, if I may pat us all on the back. Now, Ryan, I got to ask you. I'm assuming you've met probably some celebrities, some athletes. Who's your favorite athlete or celebrity?
Oh well, I mean, I don't think I have a favorite, though. I do really like Don Mattingly.
Yeah.
When you did work with Buck, I was talking to him a lot, and he was a pretty nice person. I get along with anyone you work with.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Let me let me ask you in a different way. If you could meet someone you haven't met yet or haven't, got the privilege to talk to, if you could meet anybody, who would you want to meet and talk to?
Well, I don't think I ever really, I mean, I don't really ever really got the chance or will ever get. You worked with Robert Clemente's family.
Roberto Clemente.
Roberto Clemente's family. I mean, I would personally like to just, I don't know, meet them, or like just Roberto Clemente.
He'd be
And in Ryan's defense, Roberto Clemente's 1969 Topps card, I believe, says Robert Clemente.
Yeah, it does.
So I get you off the hook a little bit there, Ryan. You're not. I mean, but obviously we knew who. Yeah, I mean I'm a Jackie Robinson guy. So Jackie would be a guy I would have loved to. He unfortunately passed a month actually before I was born. But growing up in Brooklyn, he was someone. My dad told me stories. My dad lived in Ebbets Field where the Dodgers played, and everything is Jackie Robinson related for me, and what he did off the field as much as what he meant off the field as much as what he meant on the field as well. And Roberto Clemente is right there. A tremendous philanthropist, and did a lot of stuff for less fortunate people. And I won't argue with that one at all. So good choice. Good opportunity to hear from one of our great sponsors again. But right after that, we'll be back with Ray and Ryan Schulte.
The Sports Card Shop is your small-town local card shop with a global reach. Located in New Buffalo, Michigan, the shop is one of the most accessible in the Midwest. In addition to being an authorized Panini direct dealer, the Sports Card Shop carries all major trading card brands, including Topps, Upper Deck, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and more. With all that new wax, 500,000 singles, and showcases full of graded cards, you're sure to find something great for your collection, whether you're just starting out or a seasoned collector. The Sports Card Shop is your one-stop shop. So call us, come see us, or visit us on the web and social media. Our phone number is 269-469-0140. Website is thesportscardshop@moco.com. The Sports Card Shop is part of the Moco Retail Group, connecting sports, the hobby, and people around the world.
We are back with Ray and Ryan Schulte. But we're like I said, we're 90 days away, and every day we're one day closer. I've started. If you're listening to this, I've started my yearly countdown. When we get into those kind of double digits, each every few days I'll post something to kind of let everyone know count where we're at in the countdown. How busy are you right now? I mean, we're this time of year leading up. Is it do you get busier as it draws closer, or is it pretty kind of steady throughout?
Well, I think it is really busy for you. A lot, like it builds up in tension as you get closer to the show. But last year for you, it was really chaotic with everyone thinking that the show was going to close down, or that there would be all these policies in place, or just would get canceled or heavily restricted. So
this is the time that's really busy for me, because it's preparing for everything that's going to happen, and whether it's the media. One of my responsibilities is to secure relationships with the mainstream media. Now in Atlantic City, it's different because we're talking about, let's say, WFAN in New York. We're talking about, in Philadelphia. We're talking about in DC. So I've got different large markets that I have to address, and we do relationships with them, and then with everything else we're doing, like with Signatures for Soldiers, and we're going to do a national meet and greet with Dan Marino at the event. So there's a lot of things that are going into from a planning standpoint that are happening now And then I'd like to say it die out a little bit, but it doesn't die out. It just gets, again, more exciting. But it's the momentum that we create, and it's right up until the show, and I Chicago was huge in the sense that it was nonstop for me, and even with Ryan's help and Brody's help, it's going to be just as big. I mean, we didn't mention even like with the athletes that we have coming, because the National has got so much momentum, because the show has got such great expectations. We're getting, bigger and better, high profile athletes coming in already. They've committed early because they know with the people there, it's a great opportunity to see their fans. You got a great payday, all the above. So, with like Dan Marino and with Joe Montana and Chipper Jones and David Ortiz already signed up, that's huge for us. And I think more and more athletes are going to want to jump on and be part of this. So when you say, is there anything different? I look at that as different only because of where we are. It enables us to go out and can secure these guys. And TriStar does a great job of that, and they've been doing it for a number of years for us, and they're excited about it. So it's going to be a very unique opportunity for us to bring the best of the best to the show.
And I want to piggyback off something too. Ryan said, Ray, about last year in Chicago. There was a lot of stuff going on. The pandemic was obviously in a different point than it is today. There was rumors and innuendo. The show's going to get moved. It's going to get canceled. And to pull it off in the way you folks did. I mean, you don't need me to tell you this, but I'm sure that was more difficult than it looked, but that's a testament to those involved that it looked so seamless. I mean, you don't have to necessarily go into specifics. Was, dealing with some of that stuff at this, at the National last year, was it, obviously it was more difficult, but was it, what kind of you expect, the more difficult where you expected, or even more daunting than you even sort of anticipated?
Well, let me say this. I mean, first of all, I think we've got a great national team. People that we've been together for a number of years, but work really well together. And I mention this to anybody who does events. I mean, the one thing that you have to have is trust. You have to trust the people you're working with. That's so important. And then you have to have a good work ethic. We have people that have great work ethics. So for me, I look at it when I go into any situation concerning the National is that, hey, we'll get it done. We'll make it happen. We'll work it out because of the team that we have in place. And so that's I'm very fortunate in from that respect. And so I look at it that no matter what happens, bring it on. We'll deal with it. And the year before was tough. Yeah, it was definitely tough. But I think we managed well. I mean, we postponed it because we wanted people to still have hope. We wanted people to still feel like there would be something. And then we had to cancel it. But we did everything we possibly could to make it happen. And we understood what it meant not to have a National for a year. I mean, there's a lot of people that were very down and depressed about it. So that's something that we take a lot of pride in, and we're like this year, we're in a good position right now, and like everything's coming together. We don't really have any major challenges yet. But you never know.
Don't say it too loud. Don't say it.
Something could possibly pop up, but we'll deal with it, and we'll make it work. And so, I'm very excited and proud to be part of the team. There's no question about it.
And like you were saying, not only were the people who wanted to go to the show affected, who really were saddened by the fact that it got canceled, also the businesses around the National and the hotels, they all lost. Well, they would have lost all their business because of the COVID pandemic, and the show getting canceled that year. It was really it just affected the whole thing, but unfortunately you had to cancel it.
Yeah.
As Ryan was mentioning, I mean, we have relationships with these hotels. I mean, it's not just, it's a hotel when hey, go over here to the Marriott or whatever. I mean, we know these people and we deal with these people. We have one person, his name is Greg, that's his sole purpose is just to deal with the hotels and the logistics and so when that couldn't happen, we felt for ourselves, but we felt for our friends and our partners too, because they were suffering just as much as we were. So when we go into like Atlantic City, it's all good, and we know that it's going to be a success for everybody, and that's what it's all about. So.
Yeah, a lot of gears working together where, it affects a lot more people than probably most even realize. One more quick break, but we'll be right back after that.
Hey everybody, have you heard about Collectible? It's the one-stop shop where any collector can buy and trade affordable shares in some of the most rare and valuable sports cards and memorabilia in the world, starting from just $5. From 1952 Mickey Mantle PSA 10s and Wilt Chamberlain's iconic rookie uniform to one-of-one Patrick Mahomes RPAs, rare LeBron James logo mans, and everything in between, Collectible is creating never-before-seen access and opportunities for all. Let's grow the hobby we love together. Please note this is not a recommendation or solicitation to buy any security. All investment decisions should be undertaken after doing your own research.
Glad to be back with Ray and Ryan Schulte. I got to ask you again, Ryan. You got a taste last year of doing some stuff at the National, seeing what your dad does. You're young, you can change your mind 500 times between now and whenever. Is this something like you're looking at as a career down the line here, public relations and that sort of thing?
I think maybe, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna say 100% sure, but it's definitely something I wasn't very aware of. Like, I didn't know that dealing with players or dealing with managers was the way it is. I didn't know you actually have to somewhat build a relationship with them. It was something I wasn't very aware of, and I don't know. I mean, it was something I'm interested.
He is very fascinated with marketing and public relations. And we talked a little bit about earlier about people that he admires. One of the people he admires is Elon Musk, and for what Elon's accomplished and from his entrepreneurial spirit and so for me, I think I like that because it's a different perspective, but it's whether it's sports or pop culture, and as you know, John, pop culture is a huge part of the industry now.
Oh yeah,
and
no doubt.
It's exciting. It's like I'd love to go out and get an Elon Musk signed baseball, but those things up around $3,000. So it's like, but anyway, it's good for him, good for me, knowing that he looks up to people like Elon Musk, and because there's a process, there's a mindset, there's a philosophy that he puts into it. So whether it's Elon or Don Mattingly or whoever it may be, I think that's what I enjoy is that he's applying himself in that direction.
Well, I got to say, Ryan, you're well spoken, you're well versed, probably wise beyond your years. Like you said, you can always change your mind, but one advantage you have is now doing this stuff at your age. You sort of get a kind of a sneak peek behind the curtain of what it entails, and others that will do that eventually may not have that experience under their belt when they decide to go that route. And so that's good for you. And whatever you decide to do, you seem like a really smart young man, and I'm sure you'll be successful. And you got time. I just wanted to put you a little bit on the semi-hot seat. So. But well, guys, thank you for giving us some time. I know I'm going to say you're both busy at this point as we draw near to the what I call the Super Bowl of the hobby, and I'm looking forward to it again. Counting down the days. I look forward to seeing you guys there as well, and I'm sure a lot of other people feel the same way. I always give the guest kind of the final word. Any websites, URLs, anything you want to promo or steer people to, the floor is yours.
I think that all the national with social media pages are really good, and you can stay up to date with all of the things going on in the industry, all of the things that are going to happen at the show. Sometimes it has people who are going to be there. So if you stay up to date with the Nationals social media, it would be very helpful to you.
Yeah, no, just go.
Great resource.
Go to the Instagram account, or Nationals NSCC show. And as Ryan mentioned, there's so many things. John, you mentioned it earlier. A few years ago, I couldn't help but I couldn't find any content out there. Today content is thriving, and so much content, but that's a good thing. I mean, and so with our Instagram account, we'll have all the updates and everything that's going on, and so NSCC show Instagram would be a great place for you to find out what's happening as of today.
Yeah, and bookmark it, because like you just said, as guests get announced, as news starts to break, as new things get official, that's where you're going to find out most likely first. And things will happen quick. Obviously, each day that goes by, things are falling into place and can be announced and discussed and talked about. And what better, we'll go to the source, right? There's a lot of people talk about rumors, and go to the source and cut out the middleman. And there you go. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you having both of you on. Again, look forward to seeing you in about 90 days in Atlantic City. And we're counting them down.
Okay.
John, thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
We love our listeners. Without you, there is no us. We care about your opinions and feedback and invite you to reach out to us on any of our social media accounts. On Instagram at Sports Card Nation Podcast, Twitter at SportsCardNati1, or email the show at sportscardnationpc@gmail.com. We don't ask for much, but if you really like the show, give us a shout out. Tell your friends or give us a follow on our social medias. If you enjoyed the show, please give us a positive review on iTunes or any of the platforms you are listening on. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. That's going to be a wrap for this episode. Want to thank you out there. Without you, there's no us. Thank you to Ray and Ryan Schulte. Looking forward to seeing you again here in a couple months, 87 days to be exact. And looking forward to a great show. Looking forward to Atlantic City and hanging out at the beach house with some hobby friends. And it's going to be a good time. And speaking of that, we're 87 days away, folks. If you're going, and I hope you are, for sure, and you haven't made any of your plans yet, hotel, transportation, tickets, all that good stuff, you're running out of time. I don't want to sound like the sky's falling, but every day that goes by is one less day, and these rooms are filling up and that sort of stuff. And I don't want you to not be able to go. So get that stuff done so we can shake hands, talk hobby, meet in person, and buy some cards and have some fun. And I want to see as many people there as we can get. So get all your stuff done. Don't dawdle. You're running out of time. I know it's someone say 87 days. That's, almost 3 months. It is, but these are big events. There's a lot of people going to them. Your competition. This is not a regional show. This is the national. Hence, the national. It's a national show. So get all your stuff done so I can see you there.
That's a wrap on another edition of the Sports Card Nation podcast. Thank you to all the awesome listeners out there. Without you, there is no us. Thank you to all our great guests who drive this show, and also our wonderful sponsors who help us produce the great hobby content every week. Remember, another Hobby Quick Hits episode drops every Monday, and Sports Card Nation returns again next Friday. If you like the shows, we appreciate those positive reviews. Be well, and always remember, the hobby is the people.